Hey guys, Art Trading here. Welcome back. Just going to go over a recap of last week's market sessions. Just going to go over the trades that we took and a couple ideas as well. So kind of jumping into Monday, pretty flat week for me personally. Unfortunately on Monday my Wi-Fi was out, so I could not execute any trades, but just going to go over what AP took on the stream on Monday on June 17th. So kind of going off this first one right here. Actually, I'm going to talk about this one as well. This short. So open kind of set this short-term downtrend. Now going to talk about this short right here. Pretty clean as far as how it looks in regards to an entry. However, so something AP and I have discussed before is typically when you get these quick moves down without any volume or consolidation, it is very common for these moves to get mitigated back up, kind of creating this V-shaped recovery, specifically more so if we're pushing off a high time frame POI. Like for example, this gray box right here is actually a 72-minute fractal that it is bouncing out of. And so one thing I've noticed is the cleaner it looks sometimes in regards to entry, the more you should be a little bit worried just because of this move right here. This is kind of like that inducement, trapping those shorts, thinking it's going to be continuation down. Okay, so that wasn't taken on stream specifically for that reason, because of this lack of consolidation up here. We kind of expected this quick recovery going up, especially when it's bouncing off a higher time frame POI. Now going to the one and only trade that was taken on stream, which was actually really nice. Since we were bouncing out of a high time frame POI, one thing to consider is we do have this hidden S&D on the 1 minute, which is this unmitigated wick. And typically when you get the candle next to it that has not fully mitigated, and fully mitigated meaning it has not reached a 50% of that wick. So typically these are going to get ran at least to this 50% mark right here. So this was actually a really quick setup, but a really nice setup as well. So we kind of get this move higher. Most likely that this high right here, or at least a 50% of that wick, is going to get mitigated. So you get this push off, falls short of that 50% of that wick right there. Goes down, creates a 1 minute CSS coming off of here. Entry would have been right there as a limit order, and that was a quick 10 points. So I kind of felt bad because, like I said, I could not execute. Didn't have any Wi-Fi that day, but this was a really, really quick 10-point trade, and that was pretty much it for the stream. And kind of want to touch upon this as well. This was a really nice counter trend too. Kind of going off the 12 minutes here. 12 minutes we also had, and since price is fractal, we did have a 12-minute wick right here, which is that hidden S&D. Same thing, kind of creates like these equal highs right here that I expect to get ran. Hits 50% of that wick. Typically you're going to expect a reaction out of these 50% zones, as you can see up here. And also, just to mark this out, this right here, this kind of fell short, but typically these zones are going to get mitigated. Now, like I said, it's not mitigated until 50% of that wick gets tapped. And off the bat, there was this 1 minute CSS right here. Would have tagged you in, took a little bit of heat right here, went up to mitigate this wick over here, which gave an obvious reaction out of, and that would have been another quick 10 points. So that was it for Monday. Now moving on to Tuesday, June 18th, going to go over a couple. So we only took one on stream, which was this break even right here, but I'm going to go over this one too. Off the bat, 12 minute was a little bit choppy, but we did bounce off a 72-minute hidden S&D right there, which was a 72-minute wick. Now, this long right here, and just to talk about this, is another example of these quick moves down, or up sometimes, of course, but these quick moves down without any volume or consolidation are typically going to be ran, okay? Now, there was a 12-minute CSS right over here, but that was not confirmed until after this long, which was around 10:12 Eastern. Now, if the 12-minute CSS had confirmed, I would not have minded taking this long. But prior to that 12-minute confirmation of that 12-minute CSS, we were actually going off a 12-minute hidden S&D right here, which could have presented a little bit of an obstacle at the time. But you know, if you did take this, it would have been a quick 10 points off this 1-minute CSS right here. After this candle confirmation, limit order in, and this would have been a quick 10 points if you're risking 10 as well. And then moving on, now also you can see over here, you see how these 1-minute hidden S&Ds also get respected too. Just to give an example. So overall, it was not a bad trade. I just personally did not like where we were on the 12 minutes prior to the confirmation of this CSS right here. Now, going off this trade, which was a break even, so this was after that 12-minute CSS had confirmed. We did also mitigate the hidden S&D of the 12-minute wick right there. So the chances of it pushing up were definitely going to be higher. Hence why we did take this long. Now, as soon as we got into this long right here on this 1-minute CSS, it did chop around for a little bit. It did go, I think it was 9.5 points, which 8 points is our break-even mark, so 80% of the way. Went 9.5 points, took us out break-even just for it to run up the full 10 points. And then after that, really, I do want to go over this one. I think just based on how overall structure was for that day, we did stop the stream a little bit earlier, just with a break-even. But I do want to go over this. This was a really, really nice short, in my opinion. I would have definitely taken this 10 out of 10 times. We did have this 12-minute fractal. Let me delete this real quick. So we had a 12-minute CSS to the downside, 12-minute fractal right over here, pushed up into that fractal, okay, as you can see over here. And we did have a 1-minute CSS present itself, limit order in on that short, and that would have been a quick 10 points. This is a A+ setup right here. Because typically on these 12-minute fractals, the quicker the move into the fractal after the fractal is confirmed, the more effective it's going to be in regards to going short or long, as you can see right here. So fractal confirmed, consecutive candle pushes into it, presents a short, and that would have been an easy 10 points right there. Now, of course, not going to talk about Wednesday. Wednesday was a bank holiday. I personally do not trade bank holidays. That is me. If you do trade it, best to you, but not even going to go over for Wednesday, the 19th. Now, moving on to Thursday, June 20th. Going to go over a couple. It was a flat day for me. We did take a loss on the stream. Just kind of going to go over this setup right here that we passed on, which wasn't bad. The only thing that I personally did not like is because we are on a fixed 10-point stop system right here. And, you know, we do talk about these hidden S&Ds a lot. So kind of going off the bat is we did fail to create a 12-minute CSS. We're kind of just downtrending since pre-market. We failed to create a 12-minute CSS, which already is a hand tip that we're going to head lower. A lot of people see this and they say, oh, it's a 1-minute flip. But until this higher time frame is confirmed, I was not convinced that this was a flip. And as you can see here, pushed up and it just ran back down. Now, overall setup and the area, this was a really nice area to engage in. A couple things I didn't like is we did have these equal highs right here, which did get ran, but more so was this hidden S&D on the 1 minute. 50% of that would have been exactly on your stop right there. And, you know, like we've said, what price likes to do is price likes to mitigate this, which would be a 50%, and then continue the direction that it's going to continue. So even though this worked out, you had your 1 minute CSS right here, chopped around for a little bit. Honestly, I thought this candle right here was going to wick the 10 points out, and then just decided to go for a full 10 points TP. But like I said, overall, great area. Just honestly, this 1 minute wick spooked me out a little bit for that trade. And then moving on to the loss that we took on stream. This was a quick reaction. A couple things is we were pushing into a 1 minute CSS over here. which would have been a double tap. Okay, and then another thing that I noticed was we did have this 12-minute hidden S&D down here that it did fail to mitigate it. So my initial thought process was going short on here, it was at least going to come down and mitigate this 50% of the wick, which would have put it at that 10 points. But this just decided to go straight past the stop right there. And I've noticed on the signatures is now there was this little bit of consolidation right here, so I did expect a little bit more of a down move, but definitely was towards the bottom of the move. And like I said, when it looks this good, sometimes I get a little bit suspicious, but the overall area was okay, and the draw on liquidity was definitely there until later in the day, as you can see over here. And then this was another one I did take on my discretion, was this one over here. Where's 10 points? There. So this one, we had this 12-minute fractal right up here. Okay. 12-minute fractal that it tapped into. Normally, I don't like to take fractals after it's been, you know, multiple 12-minute candles already. But since we were in a downtrend, we were back into a 12-minute CSS right here. And the 12-minute fractal, figured it was a really good spot. And honestly, this 1-minute hidden S&D really stuck out to me, where it could have been a draw. So there was this 1-minute CSS to the downside. So we tapped the 12-minute fractal, 1-minute CSS to the downside, tapped into your limit order, and this just went straight for 10 points after, barely any drawdown. But honestly, this right here was the obvious point where price wanted to draw, even if it didn't sweep this low or it's induced this low and it kept wanting to go higher, it was still within that 10-point range. Now moving on to Friday, June 21st. Friday was definitely a tough day. Aside from the volatility, just I felt like price was just everywhere. A lot of higher wicks on the higher time frame. But just to kind of go over, the first setup really didn't come until 10:45 Eastern. And just kind of go over this. This was tough because it literally missed our entry to the tick, literally to the tick, and pushed up to 10 points. This line was hard to see here, but we were watching it live. Kind of went down and then shot up all the way up here, up like 16 points, right? So this was a really nice setup, similar to the one on Mondays, I would say. But we did have, on the 72-minute, we had a fail to close on the bottom. And then we also confirmed a 12-minute CSS to the upside, as you can see over here. So right after that confirmation and tap into the CSS, we had a 1-minute CSS present itself. We had our limit order set right there, but like I said, literally to the tick, it did not tag us in. So that was just a miss, but overall really good setup on this one. So kind of going to talk about this one right here. We actually avoided this one, which I'm glad we did, just based on how price is moving and that reaction off of this 12-minute fractal right here. So remember, we talked about always is quick moves down with a lack of consolidation volume. Now this had a couple of SNDRs in the middle, but more so with the higher time frame, we had a 12-minute fractal, on top of that a 12-minute hidden S&D right there, which tapped to the tick of. So quick reaction out of. We were not comfortable shorting this at all, just based on that higher time frame. And of course, we even had a 12-minute hidden S&D up here as well, which price can draw for, which it did. So, you know, like I said, when it looks this good in this area, that's where it becomes a little bit suspicious. So good avoid on here for Friday. And then for the rest of the day, really nothing. Couple of spots, but based on price, I think you would have finished in the red if you were just taking all these 1-minute CSSs without that higher time frame. So after that, I think even before this, we were pretty much done with the stream. Overall on the stream, I think it would be a +1 for the week, +1 or +2. I was break even, just how everything had worked out. But you know, I'll take a break even week anytime. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you executed the way you should have. Took notes, what to see, what to look for, what to avoid, then you are golden. Thanks for joining, guys. I do have the Discord link on the bottom. Any questions, feel free to comment or ask away with me or AP, and I will catch you guys next week. Enjoy.